And this is Payal, and I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Raja
Rajaratnam.
Raja Rajaratnam.
Yeah,
That's a
perfect.
mouthful. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for accepting the nomination for Person Behind the Passion and coming on live with us to tell your story. You're passionate about helping people to be their best self. We just had a quick conversation a few minutes ago, guys. We just met, what, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're old friends.
That was a good 20 minutes.
We're all well acquainted by now. But anyway, this show, for those of you who don't know, it's called Person Behind the Passion. And so what we get to do is interview people and find out what they're passionate about and how all that happened and a little bit about their background. So this is like an introduction for all the members of this group and whoever else sees this. So for this woman here to talk about what she loves to do is to help people be their best self. So I'm in Chicago. You are in, I forgot the name of the town.
Chennai.
India.
India. Chennai, India.
Yeah. And now that, because India is kind of like this, where is that? Where is that?
That is in the southern part. You're down.
Okay. Down in the, okay. Cool. Wow. Well, welcome. How you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm here.
You're here. You're great. Alive. The heart's beating. Everything is good.
Yeah. Everything is good. It's a hot and sultry day outside, but I'm in the air condition and I'm grateful.
That's a good thing. So you're there in India. Tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we'll kind of dive into your passion and how that all happened and like that. So go ahead.
Right. It's always such an unsettling question. Who are you? But absolutely. I'm going to try my best. So yeah, on the professional front, I am a coach. I'm an executive coach, and I'm also an emotional intelligence coach, and I work with women leaders as well. So I do three things at the same time. I've been coaching since 2015. I stumbled into it, and ever since then, I know that this is my work that is going to be taking all my time and energy for the rest of my life, hopefully. So that's a little bit on the work front, and I'll come back to it. On the personal front, I am a mother. I live, like I said, in India. I've lived here all my life. I started my, okay, let me put it this way. I came from a very traditional Indian family. Mm-hmm. And when I was in college, I was marked as the girl who's quickly going to get married and probably have a whole cricket team of children around her. I say cricket because India is, cricket crazy. But I proved everybody wrong because I knew that I had a dream and that I was going to pursue it. Now, this was much to the surprise of my very traditional family. So I broke a lot of barriers. I refused to get married. I was quite let me just put it this way, a change maker at that time. Mm-hmm. I got married to somebody who was outside my religion. So I created quite a stir in my community.
Oh, you're a rebel.
I was a rebel. And how? Yeah, it was something like that.
A good rebel.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it this way. I would put it this way. I was a rebel, but I was also pretty scared about what I was doing. What's the impact that I'm creating? Because I think there was this part of me which wanted to conform, but there was also this part of me which was rebelling and said that, no, I have larger dreams. So anyway, again, I was one of the few girls who started working in Chennai in India. And I pursued a corporate career for a very long time, for 18 years, and I was working with British Airways. And that took me all around the world. And I think that was that's when my soul open to different experiences, different people, different places, and that's where my interest also, kind of got triggered. Uh, and my favorite quote is Henry Miller's, a destination is not a place, but a new way of seeing things.
Hmm.
So cultures and people started fascinating me. And I knew that whatever I chose to do was going to be related to people. So I hung up my boots in 2006 from British Airways, became an entrepreneur, took the plunge, and started off with facilitation and training like you do, Dominic, and then moved to coaching in 2015. So here I am now.
Wow. That was a lot of stuff in a little short period, like a little short
Yeah.
statement.
I mean, would you believe that I was struggling with the question?
Yeah. Well, that's a really, it's always an interesting question, who you are. I always tell people,
Yeah.
right, so tell me who you are. And they start telling me their name and their job and all their family and stuff. I say, but tell me who you are. And they're like, well, I just did. I don't know you, like that. Who's behind all that stuff? And they're like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? I'm like, no, who are you? I'm a floating spirit, a curious being. Yeah, whatever, right? But it is interesting to travel around and see the different cultures, and then I think that's what really happened to me too. It's magical to see all the different things that are going on in the world, and it's like growing up in this little tiny secluded spot, and then
Yeah.
seeing the different cultures and what's really going on in the world. And so yeah, great. So you're an executive coach.
Hmm. Yes. That's what I label myself as.
Yeah. Well, that's phenomenal. So let's talk about the passions, because it's kind of like it's all the same at whatever different levels of people you're supporting. How did all that? You said it just happened by accident. I don't believe that.
It's really so. It's an interesting story, Dominic. Um, I, created this what I thought was a fantastic training program on feedback skills, and I met the head of a company, and it's a really large company in Chennai, in India. Really, it's called Larsen and Toubro, and it's a very well-known global company.
Okay.
And so he said, okay, great, run the program for my senior leaders, and I'll get all these people down on a Saturday. And I was super excited to get this opportunity. So I worked really, really hard, and I really wanted to make this work. So I go there on a Saturday, and I'm like desperately trying to, do this great facilitation. And at the end of the day, when I walked into the manager's office, and he was a very gracious man, so he was very honest with me, and he said that, okay, I know you put in a lot of effort, but didn't go very well. You know, people were a little tired. You went over the time, blah blah blah. In a nutshell, the feedback wasn't great. There were things
Mm.
that were good, but of course, my ears were only listening to what was not good about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I remember walking into my car and just bawling. I wept
Oh boy.
because I had put all this effort, right? And I was devastated. And I said, what am I doing? So anyway, a day of mopping around and eating lots of ice cream and all of that stuff, and that, maybe I'm not just cut out for this. All that finished, and then I said, okay, let's get back to work. So I re-looked at the program, redid it, and this time I thought that I'm just going to experiment with an organization. And so I knew somebody, and I said, hey, you know what? I've got this program, and I'm happy to run it free for your for your people. So
Mm-hmm.
you okay with me doing that? And he agreed. He said, that's great, go ahead. And it was there that when I met the HR person, she said, oh, have you heard something about coaching? And I said, what's that? So she explained to me. I came back and I had a look, and I said, oh, this is what I was waiting for. This is me. So that kicked off the journey, and since then,
Right.
I have been following it with a lot of passion.
Hmm. It's really interesting too, Wayne, because this is, I mean, we have the same passion. So it becomes an addiction, and I know this feeling that you're talking about, the devastation, because because it has happened so many times. That's the learning process, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is like I would get up on the stage, and I'm all excited, but then people are just like sitting back. Okay, do it to me, you know.
Get over it.
Yeah, and the evaluations would come back, and like I'm just like, how could
Yeah,
they say that? Oh my gosh.
yeah. I put my soul into it.
Right. Yeah, I totally get that, and it is devastating, but it creates. I mean, for me it was like building character. It's like I'm not gonna quit,
Yeah,
and then would get back to myself. Always, like we had talked before we came online. It's like it's all about me, working on me, so that I can share that struggle and those successes with other people, so that they can see can be done. So yeah, that's great. So you grew up in this place called
Chennai,
Chennai. Okay,
Chennai.
Chennai. So what was that like to be, a little girl growing up in Chennai?
Well, if you know India, you know that we have possibly like 18, 19 different countries within one country.
Yeah.
And I happen to come from the topmost north of India. That's where my parents and my family belonged. And my dad chose to settle in the southernmost part of India. So we were like aliens in this city.
Really?
So growing up was like I was always different. I was slightly more fair skinned. I was spoke a different language. I had different habits, and um, I suppose I was okay with it. I had a bit of a okay, whatever. But I think there was a part of me which wanted to conform as well, which wanted to be accepted. There was a part of me which used to get pretty bored, but as I grew, I learned to embrace that uniqueness. I actually started feeling good about it. As I grew into my teenage years, I started recognizing that I have something that's different, and that's great, you know. So, stepping into college, I actually was thrown into the sea of very unique individuals who came
Mm.
from all different cities. So there was no longer me who was different with a different name, different look, etc. Here I was with a whole lot of people who were different. So there is where I had to learn to I won't say learn. I think I just kind of flowed into, what was there in front of me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
But
you were you a good, student, or were you, kind of a rebel, or give your parents premature gray, or were you quiet and shy?
I gave my parents lots of premature grace, but I was a good student. Yeah. I was attached to good girl habits,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I had to study and all of that stuff. So yeah. So that way I was fine.
Back then, when you were, high schooler, did you have? I mean, what were the thoughts about, going to the university? What did you want to study? What was your big dream?
Dominic, that was the tragedy of my life.
Tragedy.
I had tragedy because I tell you, I had this big dream, but I had no clue on how to get there. So I made all these really crazy choices. I chose a particular subject over another one, which I should have really, because I chose literature over psychology. Psychology is something I'm always interested in because all my friends were in literature and they were having a good time there. So while I had a dream, I didn't know how to get there, and that was something that stayed with me for some time.
Hmm.
That's why today the work I do has a lot of passion for me, because I see people who have dreams, but they don't know how to get there. And I've been there. I know how it feels. It sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I applied at 18, or it was called a Meritech. After studying in the military, studying in college, and I applied for this job, and I didn't get it. I was devastated because I thought, who would not want to hire me? Because you know, but I didn't know how to get to where I wanted to go. Exactly the point. So many
Yeah,
people don't know. So many
yeah,
people. That's
yeah.
great.
So that was me. Yeah. Just didn't know how to get there and just made all the wrong choices and reached somewhere where I didn't want to.
So you studied literature.
I did. And I don't remember a word of it.
But now, I mean, I can imagine. It's like literature is like the study of language, or not the study of words, right?
Yeah. Like if you could say that. Yeah.
And I think that, to me, I mean, like I think of the real Bible is the dictionary, because all the wisdom is stored in the words.
Mm-hmm.
So in the different languages, I mean, that's why it's so interesting to me. And I don't study, like, I mean, I've read some good literature. I've read some Shakespeare. Shakespeare was to be known as a very conscious writer. Um, but I mean, to me, that's really interesting that you studied literature and you don't remember anything. Oh, that's funny. Which I'm sure you do. Come on.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
No,
So
I
why?
do, and I suppose it helped me in my content writing today.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And you wanted to study psychology, but you turned right. You didn't do it.
yeah, yeah. I did a course for 6 months in psychology, but I know that that's something that I would have really enjoyed.
Yeah. And I always wanted to do that too. However, I didn't. I studied a little bit, but I know people that are psychologists, and I think they're, not just in general speaking, some of them are a little goofy because they overthink things, like, so maybe it was a good thing.
Maybe.
Right.
Everything has a reason, so probably there was a good reason.
Yeah. So then you went to the university and you graduated, obviously,
Yeah.
and then you started, what, working right away? You got
Yeah.
married right away?
So when I was in the first year of university, my parents wanted to get me married.
Yeah.
And, in those days, Dominic, in India, we women really didn't have a voice. And so I did not want to get married. I wanted to complete my graduation because I was just in the first year of college. So I revolted. I said no. And for a year, there was this battle that went on with my parents. They
Hmm.
actually got me engaged.
Wow.
And